What if I was reincarnated? In the My Hero universe with the arm tricks from Benton. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Jack is training with atomics, but while he's training, he asks Max, so how many transformations do I have? Max says you could have 1,000. Max also says you could have up to like 10 billion. Max says what the tricks wasn't just created to transform people, our being into different species. It was a Rex is meant for so much more about healing and saving life. It has so many more settings that you haven't even accessed yet. Jack remembers inside his head, like from the show of Ben 10, what the Omnitrix actually did remember that the honest trick can cure, heal people from diseases and stuff, and save dying life. It can make the main character understand her languages, but Jack comes back from training with Atomic, destroying some robots to Jack asks, who is the creator? Max says the creator of the Omnitrix is a Galban. Can I at least have his name? Why meet him in the future? Max says his name is Azimuth. Max also says he's one of the smartest beings in the universe, the smartest, huh? So Jack says, when do I get to meet him? Soon, very soon. Well, training with Max is going well. Deku is training with All Might Haze Siri that you've gotten pretty strong with the power of one for all. But as time goes on, it's a power that grows in each person. Also, as other powers steal, you'll be able to float, have Black Whip, have Dangerous Sense. And other abilities too. Deku, what are their abilities before me? And you, they were other users on one for all, actually people that had powers before one of these people was my master. She had a float power. She could float. Deku said, what was she like all night? Says, pretty nice person. She was kind too at the story saving people. She told me the peoples with a smile is the ones that are the strongest that can smile through it all. Deku says, is that why you smile so much? All Mike says it's also another way to show that we're not afraid, even though we are, to let everybody know that it's okay. Because the reason why I chose you to be the one that passed me, because we're a lot. Alike, in a lot of ways, I was also powerless until my pastor. My master asked on the power to me like I did with you. All Mike says, there's another trip coming up. I'll never trip. Another woman. Yes, another one. But then the last one we go to then, did that go bad? This time we'll have some extra protection. The big three might show up. Deku says, who is the pick three? All Mind says, the big three is Mario. Superhero name is 1 million. The second person from the big three. Tamaki superhero name. Sun Eater, the final person from the big three, is Niji. Superhero name, Niji-chan. She is the final member of the big three. Jack starts walking to class. He opens a classroom door as he sees Eunice and Gwen, and then Momo and Sarah says, have you seen? Deku Jack says, I did not. Momo says, where is he? Jack says, he's probably off training. Mr. A says, settle down, settle down. I got an announcement for the day. A trip is going to be happening. Today, one of the top 3 students is going to be helping us train today. I introduced Muriel, the second person from the big theory, introduced Tamaki, and the next person from the big three is Niji. She looks at Jack and says, what's your power? Jack responds, says, my power is a transformation. One Niji, she says, that's pretty nice. Muriel says, nice to meet all of you. Tamaki says, I am Tamaki, and then goes into the corner. Muriel says, don't mind him. He's just a little shy. Can I be the first one to help you train today? You, Muriel says, let's get to training, but Jack sneaks off. Tries to find Deku. Thank you for me get out of the meeting with all my ass. And he says, Jack, what's going on? Jack says, I'll tell you what's going on. We're supposed to be in the training room with one of the big three, and you're not there yet, getting your training gear now, and meet us in the training room now. Deku rushes to the changing room, switching to his training gear. Muriel says, also that's where you've been. It's good for you to finally join us. Jack says, I'm sorry, I was trying to find my friend. Deku. Muriel says, let's begin. Muriel says, who will attack me first? Jack remembers. Muriel beat everybody because of his power to go on the ground and basically go intangible to any surface. So I gotta watch that what transformation would be good for that what transformation brainstorm. That wouldn't work picture, wouldn't work wait. What big work? It could work. Cause he can go. He can go to objects too. That could work. Jack turns into Big Chill. Well, Deck, you activates one for all. This time he uses his legs and starts going for a kick. But Mario tries to dodge it by going intangible. But before he does that, Big Chill. Get close to Mario, hold him. Deku kick reaches Muriel's face. Deck, a good idea, since your big chill transformation has the same power. Like Muriel, you can cancel him out. Jack says that was the idea. Mario tries to shake off big chill. Eunice said, hold him. I'm coming for a punch. Muriel says this is not a bad strategy, but you can't keep this out forever. I got an idea for that. That's what Jack says. Jack hits the Omnitrix trick, switching to gravity. Using his grave attack power, he beat Muriel down. Jack says, now your chance. The class Muriel. Muriel says, good job, everybody, you actually got me. Niji. She says, I'll be up next. Check says, I remembered this, but Power, did you have a game? It seems like she can fly and she had BM attack. Do I just use drive tag again? No, she was probably watching. What do I do? Maybe I can use jet. Maybe that's a possibility. What would be a good way to minute Chroma Stone is good. He can fly in this sort of energy. Jack says, yes, I'll use Chromosome. Niji says, come at me, heroes. Let's see what you got. Jack says, I got a plan. Momo-yo, you'll use your power to pick up the objects off the ground. Bronk, use your power to go to turn your skin into rocks and smash the ground for objects for Momo. Eunice, stay on standby. Class, what will you be doing, Jack? I'll fight her in the air. That's what Jack said. Niji fed. Are you ready yet? Let's get started then. Niji starts blasting. Class 8 gets scattered. Deca, that you feel something different, and one for all of power activating. He's floating off the ground. Jack sees and says inside his head that's different. He's supposed to unlock Black Whip, not float first, but okay. Jack says you what happened. Deca said okay. Jack says you can control this though. It's pretty simple. You know how you use air bullets as a Jack tiles with your finger flicks. You can kind of fly if you point your fingers away from yourself. You can kind of fly. Jack is thinking. Need to help him learn those quickly. Jack says, help me. Deca says yes. Deku use air bullets to blast Nechi around, but Niji dodges all the air bullets. But Jack comes behind Niji and Jack hits her with a rainbow blast. Momo drops the rocks. One Niji, she falls to the ground. But if where all the rocks fall to the ground, Jack grabs Deku and flies him down to the ground. Niji. She says, that's actually you're not half bad, especially you, Deku, not that bad. Did you always have this power? Deku says, no, it just happened. I don't know what happened. Niji said, don't worry about it. It might have been because of the situation. Some people with powers, those powers evolve. Deku is thinking, is this one of the powers that All Might told me about? And if this is true, that means I have more powers to be unlocked. Nechi says, are you here? Niji says, maybe we should call it a day. Jack checks on Deku, you okay? What was that? Deku said, I'm okay. Jack says, maybe for our next trip, since it's going to be like kind of a learning experience, you can use that time to kind of train with your new power. Deku says, I guess you're right. Jack says, just try and get some sleep. Deku go to sleep, open his eyes. But he's in this weight. He's a full shadow of himself, kisses shadows of these people he can't speak. They try and tell him something, but Deku can't make it out. He wakes up. He says the trip is today. I guess I'm going all night to the special trip. Deku walks to the airplane. All Mike says, you finally made it. He also says, see who's joining us. It is Jack and Max. Jack says, you really think I was going to let you go on this trip by yourself? Jack says we're going on some type of island. Jack remembers this normally took place in the first My Hero movie, so that means it's going to be feelings there. Maybe I can prevent this, or maybe I should let it play out just a little bit. I am here. Oh, mine starts reminiscing about the time that he was visiting the different types of states and how he met his friends. John, who was my friend, he was a person that created my super suit. He would always tell me that my body moves on its own. I would always give him the runaround. Deku sad. So he created the mind age of your Superman. And your super, All Mike says, we're getting close to the island that your super suits picture the class. I'll let you bring your super suits. Deku said, yes, I have had my super seat. Jack says, I never leave home without it, Max, and all night. And Jack and Deku starts walking to the checkpoint of their airport to the island. Everything goes well. All Mine says, my friend should be coming soon. Melissa says, hi, Uncle Mike. Starts coming in on a pogo stick. All Night says, you are so big, Melissa. When I remember you were just a little bit smaller. I am 16 now. Melissa says Papa would have came and seen you, but he's been busy in his lab. working on something very secret. Omai introduces Deku and Jack. Melissa starts looking at Deku and Jack's supersuits. Marissa says inside her head, Deku's suit. It's not that bad. Marissa starts thinking about Jack's. She says Jack's suit is more sophisticated, more updated, especially that wristwatch Jack. Says, are you here, Marissa? Are you here? She said, yes, let's go. Finally to the lab. John is in the lab. Deku said that you had so much experience. You're the one that created all the super suits. You got a prize for the best technology ever. Jack said, sorry for my friend, and he's very knowledgeable. John says, Melissa, take Jack and Deku to their attractions. John also says to the staff, you should go to take a break all night. Says, thank you, you catch it. I can only hold this for so long. Marissa takes Deku and Jack. Marissa shows all the attractions. They run into Momo Sarah. Mama, you two are having a lot of fun. Even Gwen and Eunice. Deku introduces Marissa and Deku introduces Momo, Sarah, Gwen, and Eunice. He tells her he's her classmate of me, and Jack Eunice says hi. Deku said, Marissa, can you not say that I came with all night? It's kind of a secret, pretty please. Start walking to a cafe, and they see Adam. Deku said, Adam, you're here, yeah, but as well as a waiter. But Netta is also here. Marissa says, do you know these two? Jack also says these are also classmates. And then Either shows up. Either says why he showed up to the island since my family is both pro heroes. I got an invitation. The group starts walking to me in attraction. Marissa said, this is where people can show off their powers. Deku is at Bakugo. Everybody says. Eunice says, Jack, you should try to. Momo says, Deku, you should also try. Jack says, Deku, you should go first. Bakugo, get your turtle over with already. Jack says you start. Bakugo. Deku power up. Thanks for all at 20%. Destroy the robots. Marissa sees that he can't use his full power just yet. Doing announcers now, it's Jack's time. Principal Jack thinks transformation do use. I got so many at my disposal. But this is just a try, so I don't have to go to Flashy. Maybe I'll go Diamond, headed to be safe. Terrified, Jack clicks up on the Omnitrix, and she is Diamond. Head Marissa says his power is pretty powerful. Deke says he has multiple forms. This is one of them. Marissa says multiple forms. I know like some people have multiple powers, but not that many. Deku says Jack might become one of the strongest people in the world. He'll become a great hero. Marissa says you pretty much have a good relationship. Deku said he was the one friend that stuck by me the most of Finn, and he always brings me up. He's like a brother to me. Marissa says you have a relationship with Jack. Jack uses dumb head. He jumps in the air, does a diamond garage attacks, destroying all the robots in 1 second. Jack makes a diamond pillar to the top, so I can meet the others at the top. Deku said you did good. Check, you did real good. Jack says I know, but you did good too. Marissa says, can you transfer back, Jack? Yes, I can. Jack clicks down on the Omnitrix twins back. Marissa says, Deku, use power. Can you without breaking your body? Deku, you found out. Marissa said, after you shake my hand, I kind of seen grapes on your arms. You're starting to learn about your power, but it's still a little bit too much for you. Marissa says, come to my lab. I got something for you. Marissa shows Deku and Jack to our lab. Jack says this is a pretty nice lab. Marissa says it's good. I wanted to be this as good as my papa. You're on the right step. I'm going to be totally honest. I have a transformation called Brainstorm, and he's pretty much a genius if you need my help sometime. And also, I know a friend that could help you too. Thank you, I'll think about it. But it comes to a box. Marissa wraps something around. Deku arm and click the button, and it wraps around like a glove. Marissa says, I call this the Strike Club. You show LD be able to use your full power when you have this one. Jack, cut. This would be a good tool to have with your super suit. Do you have another one, or is this just a prototype? Marissa says this is just a prototype. Can you? Jack says next time make 2 for Deku, because I was also thinking of something else, some new gloves for him too. Deku says what you have some adjustments on some new gloves, something like that. Since all that haven't really have a chance to improve it, they're a little bulky, but they're supposed to help you with your air pressure bullets. Basically, Marissa, give me the materials of your Strike Club. I got an idea. Jack transforms into Brainstorm, working on his gloves. I want you to try these. Deca, these are amazing. Jack says in a confident tone, course. These are amazing what Marissa basically said made. I just went off those blueprints mixed in with the gloves that I was already going to give you. These should help you. But remember, some material from the all-strike clubs are still prototypes. Jack transforms back Marissa, says there's an event that's going to be happening. You two should come. Jack says, I want to show you one more feature of the gloves. You can kind of turn them. You can kind of turn them small, so you wouldn't need them later. But now we need to find suits. Want to go to the store? Gwen and Momo. Says, hi, you two, what are you doing here? There's a party happening later tonight, and I was just going to get. Deco, a new suit. Oh, perfect. We can get your opinion on some suits, on some dresses. I mean, Mama wears this pink dress with a bow. She looks like what she did in the movie. That's what Jack says in his head. Gwen Eustace wears a blue and pink dress, and Eunice wears a white dress. They both say, are you two going to say something? Jack says, you look pretty nice. Deco, it's pretty flustered. Jack shakes. Deca, get a hold of yourself, man. Skip to later tonight. All the pro heroes, everything's going pretty well, and the villains that we were attacking earlier finally come in. The leader says I'm taking over in this island. I mean, heroes was introducing ourselves until we hear something. Your alarm, Marissa says, that sounds like the alarm, but that's like the emergency. That means something must be wrong. Skylar says, what's that okay? Edith says we need to get out of here. Jack says, what is the other heroes are in trouble? Either says what the better plan is to save, is to get help, get what help? That's what says our future heroes in the making. This our first big chance to make a stand. If we can save all night in the big three, then we can stop the villains. Remember at the USJ, remember how we protected each other, and we looked out for each other. We can do that now, Marissa. Marissa knows this place in and out. We can look out for each other again. How about you? I make a deal with you. If I did everything goes south, then we'll run away and find heroes, but I think we have a good chance here. Skylar and Deku looks at the glass above All My. Deku looks at All My, signaling him. That says, we can hear you, so you can talk all. Mike says the villains have taken over this area. We're all trapped. You should run. Skylar repeats what All Might say. Deku looks at him in turn in a good look, that he's ready to do this. All Mike says, I know that look, but I am happy if they were ready to take on the challenge of being an actual specialty. Deku, and I can't call him the person that passed me. The villains take over her. The robots, Marissa says they're taking over the robots. Netta starts pulling his hair bun off his head and start throwing them like sticky spears towards a robot. Netta is tired. Adam shocks him to robots, but still so. Either says, come on, Jack. Deku, I'll help you. Jack transforms into forearms. Deca turns on his gloves. Marissa says, that's good. He didn't take off your gloves. Jack didn't teach me how. He charges up fully, to using his full power, doing a combo attack with Eater. And Jack, they both clear a path. They get access to an elevator, going to the second floor. What the team starts walking to the elevator, but it starts opening. Deca, we should wait. First, we should hide. That's someone over there. They access to more of the robots and start jumping the villains before one of the villains drove a giant pillar. Bakugo shoots a giant explosion. Todoroki uses his ice power to make an ice wall. Jack says Todoroki and Bakugo. Jack says has to be a shortcut. Marissa says there's a vent that should give us up to the top. Jack says, Momo, you get us up to the top. Jack says just focus your power on Deku and Marissa. Remember, I can fly. Mama focusing her power, letting them flow up to the top when the villains messes up my most concentration. Jack transforms into Jet Ray and gets Marissa. And Deku, you make it to the top. Ida says you can finally help us. Deku said, did you just quick change into a different form without pushing down on your watch? Jack says, I guess I did. I never did that before. Let's not focus on that right now. Marissa, where are we right now? Marissa says we're close to the top floor. They got stairs, though. Okay, stay behind us. Jack transforms back into forms. Deku will be in front to protect her. Deku sees a villain. He jumped on the ceiling and punches him. Jack sees a villain almost hit. He jumps and punches him with arms. He sees the villains. Jack does claps his hand together, making a shockwave to the big villain. As John Cat the villain says, your papa has been working on a secret project to make power stronger. Marissa says, "Why have you even been working on the device?" John says, "Because all Mike's getting weaker, he was a simple in
the dark. He brought happiness around the world, but the light was going out. I needed somewhere to help him. The villain shot him. The villain says that's enough. I'm gonna be taking him now." The villain makes a wall, Deku. And Jack punches at the wall. Deku he jumps onto the helicopter, but almost getting away. Jack jumps with forearms and changes into Jet Ray, flying and blasting the helicopter down, but catching John. The film makes a giant boulder and drops it on John, but all it says, "I am here." I Might says, "Thank you for saving my friend Jack, but now I can handle this," and you see the big 3 Mario Niji. She says, "You did pretty good, Jack Tomato." Oh my jumps. But the villain catches him. Deku he punches at the rubble, clearing the path, but he gets knocked over. All Might says, "Are you okay?" Deku, "I'll be fine." All Might says, "Your body can't take this much." Deku says, "Isn't risking her. Life is a symbol of a hero." "Yes, it is." Jack says, "I got an idea. If we 3 hit it with everything we have, I think we can stop it." "I got an idea." Jack turns into atomics, and he runs with All Might and Deku. They jump in the air, All Might and Deku charging up the strongest attack during United States to smash, and also Jack is powering up his atomic fist, getting ready to punch. They're giving you everything they got. They're pushing as All Might, and Deck being pushed back. Their clothes starting to rip. Sleeve is starting to rip. Deku, the Deck suit starting to rip, but he's also destroying the Strike Club, but he's still going on. They give it one more push and stop the villain, but John sees a shining light the same way he looked at All Might. He sees in Deku, "I might find John." John says to All Might, "I was trying to save you, but the future is thing, isn't it?" Says, "Yes." Deku says that "You will be mine, be the new simple piece. He will be the one that passed me, and Jack will become a great hero on his own. He's already powerful enough, and Melissa will to pass you." That's the end of this part. Please don't forget to come in. I can subscribe.